You didn't fail the dopamine detox. The dopamine detox failed basic psychology. And the reason no one tells you this is because the explanation sells worse than the promise. Here's what you were told. Modern life overstimulates your brain. Social media, junk food, video games, they flood your dopamine system. Your baseline drops. Normal activities feel boring. So the solution is simple. Remove all high dopamine activities, reset your brain, restore your ability to enjoy simple things. The logic sounds clean. Deprive it of stimulation, force it back to baseline. Then normal life becomes rewarding again. Most people make it 12 hours. Some make it 2 days. Almost no one makes it a week. And when they fail, they assume the problem is willpower. They think they're weak. But the failure rate isn't about commitment. It's structural. The problem starts with the term itself, dopamine detox. It frames dopamine as a toxin, but dopamine isn't poison. It's a neurotransmitter that signals expected reward. It motivates action. It drives learning. When you remove all sources of dopamine stimulation, you're not resetting your brain, you're creating a vacuum. And a vacuum doesn't heal boredom, it amplifies it. Because dopamine isn't just about pleasure, it's about wanting, about motivation, about the feeling that something matters. So when you strip away everything that triggers dopamine, you don't feel calm, you feel flat, you feel pointless. There's no motivation because your brain has no signal that anything is worth doing. And here's the second problem. You're using willpower to suppress urges while producing no alternative reward. Willpower depletes. You're spending it constantly, getting nothing back. No wins, no progress, just deprivation. The typical failure goes like this. You wake up committed. You avoid your phone. You sit with discomfort. It feels meaningful for about 90 minutes. Then you start to feel restless. By mid-afternoon, you're not craving entertainment. You're craving direction, a sense of purpose, a signal that your time is being spent on something. But there's no signal because you designed the day to have none. So you check your phone, not because you're addicted, but because your brain is searching for evidence that action leads to outcome, that effort leads somewhere. And when you break, you don't just feel like you failed, you feel like the whole idea was stupid. This is the psychological trap. The detox is built on effort justification, the idea that suffering proves value, that the harder something is, the more it must be working. People mistake the pain of deprivation for the signal of progress. But progress doesn't come from removal. It comes from replacement. Your brain doesn't need less stimulation. It needs better structured stimulation. It needs dopamine signals attached to things that compound. Work, learning, movement, creation. The problem isn't that you have too much dopamine. The problem is that your dopamine is attached to behaviors with no residual value. Scrolling doesn't build anything. Gaming doesn't transfer. The activity ends and nothing remains. So the real issue isn't dopamine, it's reward alignment. Here's the reframe. Stop trying to detox. Start trying to redirect. You don't need to starve your dopamine system. You need to rewire what it responds to. That means replacing low residue behaviors with high residue ones. Not all at once, one swap at a time. Instead of scrolling in the morning, write 3 sentences. Instead of gaming at night, read 10 pages. Instead of binging shows, walk for 20 minutes. You're not removing dopamine, you're moving it, training it to fire for things that leave something behind. That's not a detox, that's reconditioning. And reconditioning works because it respects how motivation actually functions. 2 rules. First, never remove without replacing. Second, measure success by whether the replacement stuck, not by whether you avoided the temptation. You don't need to do this perfectly. You just need to do it consistently enough that your brain starts expecting reward from the new behavior instead of the old one. The dopamine detox fails because it's built on deprivation, and your brain doesn't run on deprivation, it runs on direction.